Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I haven't seen many of you for a little bit. I've been on the road, but so happy to be here today. We are going to give everyone about 3 to 5 minutes grace while they are gathering all their stuff, rushing to the car, rushing to their couch, rushing to their desk to ready the mindset and heart set for today's Power Hour. So thank you so much for your timely attendance, but we will wait a few more minutes. Let's see who we have here. We have a new face, Liam, welcome, and Beth, welcome as well. And Lana, great to see you.
Great to see you too.
Yes, your ears must have been burning. I was just speaking of you.
Yeah.
All good things, I promise.
Yes. Mhm. Unicorns and rainbows, as Lana is concerned. Yes. We have, as of now, we have about 18 individuals that's registered for the session. And as always, I just want to knowing, having been in that classroom for decades and knowing what it is at the end of the day, I always try to give that little buffer time. Jessie, if you are ready and you want to share your screen and set it up, I think you have. Yep, and just set that. Great. Perfect. And I'll expand that. Everyone that's attending right now, I would love you to put your name and your role in the chat box. At the end of the session, before you leave, I will share your contact hour certificate link. There's a new system that Maine DOE has set up, so I can't automatically send you the the contact hour certificate with your survey. So I'll put the survey link in there at the end of the session, as well as the link to create your contact hour. Nice. Welcome, Jessica.
Thank you.
And thank you for your notes earlier. Very helpful. Jessica, why haven't we met before? I have a feeling, have we met?
I think one time we have.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have been in one or two of these sessions, and I can't remember if you were at the conference, the Youth Transition Conference.
The organizer.
Yes.
Yes, I was
Yep,
there.
that's right. Yes, that was wonderful. So
Yes, and I hope to connect with you. We want to go bigger and better this year, and I really want to include our educators' voice in the field as well on that. I know it was very well organized by our transition youth leaders, and we were the backup dancers. So I'm always looking for more partnership and collaboration in regards to all our initiatives. So I will connect with you separately.
absolutely, I appreciate that.
Thank you. Ooh.
Thank you, Liam. I'm always like, which one is 60? Where is that? Where is the key to where all of these are?
Thank you. Yes. I've been at it 3 years now, dealing with all the names of the high schools versus the SAU names, etc. And then it's MSAD, and I'm still lost. So it's the way it is, right?
How hard would it be just to make me a nice little Excel sheet that explains this one means this one and this is where it is?
I actually did that, so I can do that for you. I will
Oh,
share.
yes, please. I'm
Thank you.
always like, because everyone talks by their number. I'm like,
Mhm.
"Hmm,
I'm a new Mainer, relatively speaking. I technically don't even live in Maine. I live in New Hampshire, but I'm new to the region, and I
Mhm.
am often geographically challenged when I hear the numbers and districts.
I've lived in many places. I've never had school districts labeled that way. It was always by location name, and I'm like, do they make this a mystery on purpose?
Part of the magic.
And with that, I think we can start today's Power Hour. I would like to welcome and applaud the Executive Director of Maine Site, Jesse Wright, who will be hosting and leading today's session, Moving Through Life, Transition and Assistive Technology. Welcome, Jesse, and thank you for making time in your busy calendar to share your expertise with the field. You are truly appreciated.
Thank you. And I appreciate you guys showing up to hear more about assistive technology. Um, it's never a job when you love it like I do. So it's like, I don't mind talking about it. I can talk about it all the time. And I'd much rather be doing this than writing the report that's sitting there waiting for me to write it. So thank you for having me, Titus. Uh,
Anytime.
I am putting in the chat, there is a link to the slides, a PDF of the slides. I may not get to all of them today because I had a lot of information I want to share with you that I think is important for you to know. So you'll have access to it in the slides, even if we don't get to all of it. I just finished a 2.5 hour presentation with OTs at UMS, USM Lewiston. We were talking about their pediatric class, so AT in schools. And I was driving home. Transition is everywhere, folks. Um, so I am fully energized and ready to go today. Um, I'm going to start out with just a little bit about Maine Site, okay, so that you know that there's this resource out here available to you. And also, if you have questions, feel free to throw them in the chat box or unmute and just talk. I am very casual and I'm here to answer your questions because that's what we're all here for, is to know a little bit more. And you can't get answers if you don't ask the question. Um, so a little bit about Maine Site. We are a statewide resource. We're the State Assistive Technology Program. Every state and U.S. territory does have an assistive technology program. So Liam over there in New Hampshire, if you have folks over there that you're hanging out with and they have an issue, they have an AT program in New Hampshire and we can get you connected there if needed. So wherever you happen to go, we all hope you stay here in Maine because it's a lovely state. I have no idea why you'd want to leave. But should you move anywhere else or you have family anywhere else, this resource is available in every state and U.S. territory. It is a federally funded program, and we are through DHHS and the Administration for Community Living. And while we are all like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen with our new system and politics coming up in January? I can tell you, I am very secure in the fact that this program will remain around because it is actually in legislation. It would literally take an act of Congress to get rid of this program. And we all know how well Congress works. So that would take years. And the only thing that, is really a concern is budget cuts that might impact the program, but the program will still be around and we'll still be doing the same thing. This program has been around for about 30 years and nobody knows about it. So it's a problem. We're always out there doing awareness. It's a free service to anyone who would like to utilize it. So what we do is we provide information assistance. So anybody who has a question about disabilities or assistive technology can contact us. And we're there to provide you resources and help walk you through whatever decisions you might need to be making. We do trainings such as this and such as the one I just did with the OT students this morning on a lot of different topics on assistive technology and accessibility. We do a lot of trainings right now in digital accessibility and how to create accessible content because that is a big need across the board. And there are some, new federal mandates that are going to be coming into place here in the next year that really are going to push that forward. So feel free to tune into some of our webinars. We do webinars for free to the public once or twice a year or a month. Wow. And you can go to our website and they're always listed there, or you can go to our Facebook page. All that information is on our last slide. We also do device demonstrations. We have a lot of different types of devices. And the biggest thing with AT is most people just don't know what they don't know. They don't know things exist, so they need to know what they are and how to use them. And we work with them to show them the different types of devices so that they can see the different features so they can make an informed decision. Now, whether that is the end user and I'm working with a consumer with disabilities, or if I'm working with a teacher who's trying to figure out what their student needs. We work with professionals, family members, caregivers, absolutely anyone who is breathing in Maine, we will work with you. We only require that you are alive and that you are in Maine. Now, we'll talk to anyone, but we will point you to the state that you belong to and get you connected. We also do short-term loans. This is so people can try things out before they go buy them and make sure that they are the right fit for our students, because we all know that you go and fight for money to get that piece of equipment for that student. And then if it's the wrong piece of equipment, it's going to go in a closet and collect dust. And you can't fight for the next piece of equipment because you've already stood on that hill and you have died. So we want to make sure we're getting the right equipment to our students, not just because of the funding issue, but also for our students. How frustrating is it for them to be all hyped up and be like, yes, I'm going to get this piece of equipment. I'm going to be able to do these things. And you're training them and showing them how it works. And then it just is not the right fit. They're not going to want to go through that again. They're done. They're not, AT is set aside for them. We want to make AT a valuable tool for them and for them to understand really how it can impact and benefit their life. So those short-term loans are stuff you can try them out in the environment that they're going to be in. Because yes, you could come into our lab and we can try things out, but is that going to work within your school system? Is it, a network problem that you might have to function, work with IT to get connected within your system? Is it something that, is just going to be too loud for that environment? All kinds of different reasons that you'd want to try things out. And it's free. All of our services are free. We often get the concern of, hey, what happens if they break it? We get it. That's part of borrowing something to see if it works for you. Um, if it is not robust enough for Johnny, then maybe we shouldn't get that for him. If he is that kind of guy who likes to throw stuff around, well, we probably shouldn't get the iPad unless it has a really, really good life-proof case. So we get it. If things break, just contact us, let us know, be honest about it, and we get it. No big deal. That's why we get funding every year to help replace and upgrade equipment. But if something comes back and I'm like, why is there a tire track on your iPad that's broken? I believe you ran over it. Gross negligence is a problem, so we'll have a conversation. But for the most part, it's not been an issue. People get it, you're getting free access to borrow equipment and they understand the value of getting that back so somebody else also has that access. We have equipment for all ages, all abilities, all across the walk span of life, from recreation equipment to actually feeding and daily living, education, sensory, across the board. Lots and lots of fun stuff. All right, so we also do reuse. This is the one area in our stuff that sometimes has a cost. We have a reuse center in Portland, Spurwink Alltech, and is our partner that provides that. They take equipment that's been gently used, clean it up, refurbish it, get it back out for free or low cost. Generally, the only time that it's at a cost is if it's like a $30,000 power chair that has all the bells and whistles. They might charge a couple $100s for it. Because they've had to put some time in to get the battery replaced, they put some money invested in it, so they have to recoup that. But for the most part, we try to get things back out there for free because we'd rather them be there and being in use than be sitting in a closet somewhere collecting dust. So our other partners are Galant Therapy Services, Pine Tree Society, and University of Maine and Farmington. If you are not familiar with our library at the University of Maine and Farmington, at the Spencer Spin Center Curriculum Center, there's AT, right next to curriculum. So like there's this amazing science curriculum, and right next to it will be an accessible microscope in case you have a student who has some accessibility issues with this curriculum. So really great pairing of equipment with curriculum. So great place to visit and really get some ideas. I'm there every Wednesday and Thursday, so stop by. If you'd like to see our inventory, atformaine.org is where everything is. You just get on there, you can see everything, you can request it, and someone contacts you and said, hey, you asked for some equipment. What's the best way to get this to you? Um, and if you ask for equipment from 4 different partners, we do limit you to 5 devices at a time because we don't want someone to take out 30 devices and then decide to run to New Hampshire and not come back. So 5 devices at a time, but even if they're from 5 different organizations, we will coordinate that for you. So you do not have to try to pick it up in 5 different places. And we will get it to you in the best way we can. Then you get it back to us in one lump. We get it back to the partners. So we try to make it as easy for you as possible. For those of you who are joining us and who didn't get the handout, it is in chat, so I'll put it there again. All right. So now we're going to try to dig into the meat of things. So assistive technology, if you weren't familiar, it's really just any piece of equipment that helps a person with a disability do something that would otherwise be difficult or impossible. The same piece of equipment that might just be a convenience item for someone, maybe AT for someone else who needs it to complete that task. So when we look at UDL, education technologies, different things like that, yeah, right now in our systems, like if you're typing, generally you have word prediction now and it just pops up automatically. So it's a fun thing. It's a convenience thing for me. I'm like, I just hit tab and look, a whole sentence just popped out there for me that I didn't have to type. I could type that if I needed to, but I don't have to. Now, somebody else who needed word prediction to write, that would be AT for them. Okay, so that's that difference. Do they need it to perform the task, or is this just a convenience thing that's available to them? The other thing that's under assistive technology is services. Assistive technology services are the training, the evaluation, and also, sometimes it's not about a device. It's simply looking at an environment and saying, let's rearrange this environment so that it better suits the needs of this individual. So all of those things are services of assistive technology. It does not include medical equipment. So durable medical equipment does count. We do walkers and wheelchairs and things, but when it comes to things like, uh, hang on a sec, oxygen machines, things like that, we don't cover those kinds of things.
Mhm.
All right, so there's a spectrum of assistive technology from no tech to high tech. And as you can see in these pictures, it really is broad on what all assistive technology can be. It might simply be pictures for communication, or having little knobs on puzzles to help if you have fine motor issues, so that you can do your puzzle, different mouse options, keyboard options, all the way up to like computer access for spinal cord injuries or folks who are blind. So it is a very broad spectrum for assistive technology. And anything can be considered assistive technology. It could be a rubber band. If it's holding something that someone needs to be mounted a certain way, then that's a need for them.
Mhm.
All right, so
Can I just interject there,
yes, you can.
Jesse? I
Oh,
want to
yes.
point out when we're talking about assistive technology in the classroom, the student can be using 3 or 4 at one time,
Mhm.
right? And it can be as low level AT to high. So, for example, that the band could be something to help support behaviors, right? Focus and on time. Then he could be using speech to text as an app to be able to express or communicate his thoughts, right? It's a communication device. Then it could be as simple as having like little stickers or post-its on his desk as well. And that would like set a timing or a schedule for him. And then we're talking about 3 things at once now. And
It
so
becomes a system.
exactly. So it's assistive technology provides a system of support. It's not necessarily just one item. And so we have to think comprehensively when we are thinking about AT guidance. Mhm.
So that was foreshadowing. Um, thank you, Titan.
Mhm.
Um, so as she was talking there, oh no, brain thoughts. Hmm,
My
it's going to come
apologies.
back. Yep, it's going to come back. We'll go to this guidance document first. So just so you know, January in 2024, this year, the U.S. Department of Education did put out a guidance document about assistive technology for education. This QR code will take you to the Dear Colleague letter and the Myths and Facts document. This is probably the only government document that I will ever like recommend to people because it does not speak federal government. It actually speaks plain language to the people. It's very understandable and relatable. And the myths and facts about AT are really, really good. Um, so it's a great way to help support that need for assistive technology. If you're asking for things and administration is giving you pushback, this is a great document to support your case. I highly recommend giving those a good read. And what it is basically, they're just saying, hey, AT is important. We need to be making sure we do this and that folks understand what it is and that we're really giving our students access to it because it is critical to their independence and well-being as they join our communities. This is not new. They're not providing anything like, oh, now you have to do this too. This is all stuff should have already been doing. They are just providing some guidance on how to do it right. No extra funding for it or anything, but it does give you some resources for funding. All right, so the purpose of that document, is everything I just told you. And they also just want to kind of dispel those misconceptions. Like one of the big ones that shocks my little brain is when I've had educators say, oh, assistive technology is just communication devices. I'm like, oh, that's just, apparently I have a whole lot of stuff in my library here that is not assistive technology. Who knew? No, that is not the case. It's for any area of life. It's not just about communication. So really, this document goes through some of those that are like red flags that they hear a lot from educators and administrators, um, providing some good guidance on how to communicate that stuff. So into transition now. Transitions are everywhere. It's not just that K-12 into higher ed or the community. It is everywhere. So you need to be thinking about transition all the time. All the time. We're transitioning every day in multiple ways. When they go from home to education, that's a transition. Even things like going home for the holiday break, changing classrooms, changing from year to year to a teacher. These things are important. Okay, and I know that mainly here for this group, we're talking about transition out of school, but all of this needs to be documented. So these things are part of that case for documentation. If they need AT, it needs to be in their IEP because anytime one of these transitions happens, the next person needs to know what was working for them. So they don't have to start all over and finding what is the AT that best meets the student's needs. How frustrating would it be to be that child? And every year we have to go through this process again. That's going to take, 3-6 months to find the right AT, purchase it, get us trained on it, and then start actually using it only to go on summer break then and start all over with a new teacher the next year. Document it, make sure it's in there. That AT checkbox needs to be checked on their IEP so that we know that they need it. Now, if you're doing UDL, awesome, great for you. Equal access, nice inclusion, woohoo, fun stuff. But if that student needs something that you're offering as a universal tool to all your students, if they need it for access, then it needs to be marked as assistive technology because for them, it is not just UDL. It is assistive technology that they will need and it needs to be documented. So as they transition and all these other things, people know. Okay. So transition also higher education to employment, community living, and then all kinds of life changes. we need to be making this person-centered, and so that our students also understand that when they change jobs or if they move to different environments and locations, how do they communicate their assistive technology needs? So they really need to have that voice in the transition process, because this will not be their final transition. This is just one piece of transition in a whole lifetime of transitions puzzles. Okay, so making sure that they are part of that conversation so that as they continue through life and transition, they know what their AT needs are and know how to navigate that process. And then they might be a temporary transition even. When we have temporary short-term injuries, hospitals to home, that is my nice little foot there that's all broken in that beautiful little cast. Things happen. Knowing the resources to help them still be able to be independent and navigate, like that knee scooter that my foot is sitting on, I borrowed that from the AT program in Alaska where I was working, so that I didn't have to go buy one. I only needed it for a short term because I sure wasn't going to wear that cast for the rest of my life. And then I gave it back. So knowing that there are resources out there as their life changes is really important to our students. Okay, AT fails in transition. Okay, I talk about the fails before I talk about the successes so that we can learn from them and then be fully successful. Okay, ownership is the biggest challenge I face when we talk about AT and transition. Whoever purchased that device, whatever school district purchased that device, they're going to keep that device. So when that student transitions out, whether it's to another school, to another county, another district, or into life, if the school district purchased, the biggest one we run into is the communication devices. That communication device, it's going to stay at school. So we have now taken their voice box and sat it in a corner and said, please go out into your community and be successful, but don't talk about it. So how can they be successful out there if we don't have stuff in place for them? So we want to make sure that we have all this stuff in place well before they transition out, because it can take time. So we want to start this process as early as possible and be thinking about those things. So knowing that our tools don't necessarily follow the person is a big deal. And also, if the tool is with the school, how expensive was that tool? Is it something that they can afford when they get out in the community and are on their own? Also looking at things like accounts, are they tied to a professional or an agency? One of my big pet peeves is going out to a school and they're like, can you help with this iPad, da da da, and this app that we're using? And I'm like, oh, well, it needs updated. And they're going, oh, well, we can't update this because this was Susie's account, the last teacher who was here. She put it on there and she left. She's no longer here. So we don't have the password to update it. But the $300 app is on her account and they won't let us buy another one because, it's here. That's a mess that I cannot fix. That is something that we need to think about as we're planning and purchasing our AT and getting our IT people involved in stuff too, so that we're all on the same page moving along. All right, we also have to think about system compatibility. If this student is going to go into higher education or a workplace that might be a Mac operating system, then let's start them working on a Mac here a couple years before they head out to the community, into the world. Because I can tell you, as a PC user, when I transition to a Mac to do trainings, I have to take a couple hours to reorient myself to how things work, where things are on my page. So that is me as typically functioning as I can be person. For our students, that's even harder. So looking at the type of operating system they might need in the future is very important. We also need to look at what are their workplace goals? Are they planning to work maybe in a government position? If they're planning to work for Maine.gov, then there might be some security network issues with software and things like that. Having those conversations so that we can prepare accordingly rather than get someone into a job where now they're having to learn a new piece of equipment and try to figure out their new job all at the same time. That's not stressful. They're behind before they ever got started. we want to set up our students for success. So the best way to do that is to look at what their future potentially is going to be, what they're interested in, and prepare accordingly. Don't be nearsighted. Don't just think about what do they need this school year. It's got to be on the longer term. We tend to also go, oh, what do they need right now? And so Titus touched on this, like, they just need this. But no, we want to think about the whole person, their whole environment, their whole life, not just while they're at school, but what are some other areas that they might be having problems with? Do they intersect with this barrier that we're facing now? Are there tools that maybe can do multiple things so that we can get one tool versus 20 tools to hang out on our tool belt? And really trying to figure out the entire picture instead of just putting together our little corner of the puzzle. So really looking at a longer term.
Can I add one thing again,
Yes,
Jessie?
ma'am.
I also want us to look at that AT technology and look at, as we're doing that transition plan, how will this tool be used to support him accessing the curriculum? Then how will that actually support him in the workplace as what him or her, as well as what does that look like for independent living? Skin or functional development as well. So making sure not only a comprehensive system of AT support, but exactly what it looks like in the classroom, in the community, and with his independent living skills as well. Mhm.
And so what we're looking at there is this word will come up later, transitionable tools. I made up that word, totally going to coin that. That's mine. So those tools that are, available to them when they get out that might be lower cost or that they can access through whatever workplace that they may be going to, but those tools that are going to be able to flow with them from one environment to the next so that we are preparing them for the future. So here's my little catchphrase to all educators. The sign of success is not how well they did in your classroom this year. The true sign that you were successful with that student or these students is that when they left you and they went out into the community, they were successful in life. That is what school is supposed to be doing, preparing our students for life. So great, awesome. They did great in your classroom this year. But are we preparing them for life? Are we getting them the tools they need that they will be able to function with later? So when we're considering our AT, we really want to look at what functions are of concern here, not just what task, but like let's look bigger on functions. Then we can get down onto specific tasks. What are the barriers that we're currently looking at? Are there any barriers? When they're attempting this task specifically. So just looking at that big picture, figuring out the problem so we know what we're solving. And then, like I said before, if this is a problem here, are we seeing similar problems in other areas that maybe we should be addressing as well? So trying to get that whole picture of this individual. And this is critical right here, this piece. In your justification. One of the things that I know folks struggle with is funding and trying to get that approval from the higher ups, the almighty powers that be. What I recommend is you don't ask unless you're ready to defend your request. And that is data and having all that support together and your justification. Why do they need this? And if you have all that support and you are ready for all the questions that they ask, how can they turn you down? So look at that device. What are we talking about? And answer these questions. Will a new or additional piece of AT enable performance of this task with more ease, efficiency, or less restrictive environment, or to be able to perform it with less personal assistance? Those are big things because ideally when they leave you, they can do things more independently. We're not setting folks up to have a lifelong person following them around to be their reader or their scribe. Those are probably two of my biggest for accommodations, a reader and a scribe. I don't know anyone who gets to walk through life who gets to carry the reader around in their backpack with them. So when they leave school, I hope we have something set up. Otherwise, they're never reading anything again. And then also the scribe. Good luck filling out that job application. Who's here to help you? We have to come up with the right tools to get that independence there. Also, as I've mentioned, functioning in the different environments and just really identifying the barriers in each environment because they might be different. And it might be something simple, like you might just need to change some lighting in one environment, whereas you have to do a lot more in another space. So look at your environments. They are critical to our AT functioning and our student success. Gathering that data, highly important. I know we already have enough paperwork. We are already trying our best and we are taxed on time and low on energy. I get it. Do your best. That's all we can ever ask is that we just try. We try to get that data in and do some anecdotal pieces of it too, but show that you borrowed a device. You can prove that this worked. I tried these as well. These didn't work. You are giving your due diligence to this student to make sure this is the right equipment. So again, when you provide that justification, how can someone say no? You have done your due diligence. You can prove that this is working and will work for them. It is worth the money. As we identify our tools, we really need to understand that it should be a feature match. And ideally, in the grand scheme of the AT world, they're always like, oh, you want to make sure that it's a perfect match and it's a feature function, blah, blah, blah. That doesn't work in reality, and we all know that. In reality, we need something that, as I'm talking about now, is transitionable. So it may not have all the bells and whistles. What do they need to function? What do they need? Okay, we can start with that. And then if it has some more bells and whistles, awesome. But we need to make sure these critical functions can happen. So looking at those things and then also identifying, again, that multiple environments so that we don't have to learn multiple tools. Nobody has the time and energy for that. So like if you have an iPhone for work and you have an Android phone for your personal life, your brain is split in two. Like, so when they gave you that iPhone for work, you were probably sitting there going, I don't know how to work it because I am an Android user. Think of a student here trying to figure out multiple systems and multiple environments to try to do similar tasks. Let's make life easier on them. That's what we do, right? If this works for me in my organization at home, maybe it'll work at work too. Whole picture, folks. We want to select the appropriate tools and we want to identify the tool availability. So again, cost, is this a free access tool? Is this a web-based tool? Is this a downloadable software? How do we access this tool? Is this something that we can get repaired and fixed if needed? Knowing all those pieces. Also the services for effective use. So training. It is a critical piece of your justification that you say that this training is needed. Try to identify about how much training is needed, because that is one of the, to me, biggest barriers that we face in the education system is we do not provide you time to get the training on these devices so that the teachers know how to work them and the people in that students, circle who are working with them understand how to use this device with them and then can train that student. Training is critical. We all know if I give you a new piece of software and say, hey, this is going to be great for your classroom. This is awesome. Here you go learn it and incorporate it in your classroom. You don't have time for that. That's the same here. If we don't carve out time to train on these things, it will not happen. And that piece of equipment will go sit somewhere and collect dust. We have to train. If we want to be successful, that has to happen. I really recommend having a whole training plan and things documented so that you can go back and say, oh, yes, this is who's in charge of this. This is who's responsible for that. This is how this works. Yes, okay. This never ends. Once you do it, it's not over because we all change. guess what? We are all changing all day long, every day. If it's a degenerative disorder, then things are going to be changing. If they age, they're going to grow out of things, all these wonderful things. We are just constantly observing our students. If we see that they're struggling, having a plateau, a barrier, then let's reevaluate. Let's look at some things. Is it the tool? Is it just the environment? What's going on? Repeat the process to evaluate if needed, but it should be something that we are constantly looking at. We should not plateau on assistive technology because the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. So we have to be preparing our students right now. Think on a 5-year plan. I'm going to go really quick because I only have about 5 more minutes. I could talk all day. So insurance, if they are purchasing equipment for the students, so if they're getting a communication system and insurance is paying for it, they will generally only buy one every 5 years. So where's that student going to be in 5 years? What do we think their abilities are going to look like in 5 years? Because again, if it's a degenerative disorder or maybe they're making progress, so we have to really think about this whole picture and try to prepare on that long term. Communication is the biggest barrier here, I think, in this 5-year thing, because we tend to, get really excited that they got, this far on this communication system. This is the one for them. Well, how many words that we talk about, we use in our language every day? A lot. So we want to make sure we are constantly building on our communication if possible. That student probably isn't going to be limited to 20 words, I hope. Hopefully that we get a much more robust communication from them. So we want to make sure that we are thinking long-term and what can we build.
And to add to that, when we are thinking long term, think about the last year when we do our summary of performance. Reach out to VR. VR has funds that can support our students in accessing these technologies when it supports their workplace experience, as well as if the student has a classification of ID or is on the spectrum. Have these conversations at those last IEPs just before they graduate, because under any of those waivers as well, they can support payment towards the student accessing those technologies in 5 years. So your summary of performance is really how you can help support the family and the student in securing those technologies 5 years down the line.
And document, because, if you tried something and it didn't work, please document that too, so that down the road, we know this didn't work. This is why it didn't work. We don't have to continuously put a student through reevaluating using the same tools that we've already ruled out by someone else. That documentation is really critical to that student. Thus, we want to include them in the process. So where do they want to be in 5 years? What is their plan? Because you know what, if they don't like that assistive technology, if you didn't include them in that process, and you've picked a piece of technology that they hate, as much as I would like to say, oh, well, they still have to use it, I'm probably going to say that's your bad. You should have talked to them about it first. Because I've seen it happen. I've seen a $12,000 Tobii Dynavox eye gaze system go to a gentleman who hated that device when he was evaluated with it, when they purchased it for him anyway, and 5 years later, when I'm talking to him, he still hated that thing and would rarely ever use it unless he critically needed to.
Yeah.
They did not listen to him. They did not listen to his voice. So it is very important that we listen to our end user to make sure that we are meeting their need. The cost, as Titus said, who owns this technology and can they obtain, looking for free stuff that they can get access to when they leave, or ODEs, different places like that might have some funding, making sure they know their resources. We want stuff that hopefully can function in multiple environments, so that way we can reduce the cost and also just reduce the brain power needed to remember how to use different technologies. Okay, I am just going to really quick go, look, there's a list of tools. The PowerPoint is in the chat. So you will have access to this list. Here are some just basic tools that are out there. Read and Write for Google Chrome is my favorite. I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I know that you have favorite children. I won't tell them. You don't tell my boss that I have favorite tools. So Read and Write is free, has a free version. If you are an educator, you can actually get the full paid version. It's a Google Chrome extension, so you can see all the bells and whistles, but the text-to-speech part is free for anyone. And then they go to the library and get on a computer, log into their Chrome account, and there they go. They can access it from anywhere that they can log into Chrome. Here's some other tools that do some text-to-speech. Reader Pens is the one at the bottom. It is a scanning pen for printed text because, sometimes we still do get things in print in the mail, or maybe it's an application that'll read that aloud to them. It is much more accurate than it used to be. It is, when you scan it, it reads it pretty well. The other thing above that is built-in accessibility features. You have a wealth of tools and information at your fingertips, all built into the tiny little magic boxes that we work on every day, both our computers and our tablets and our phones. So opening that door to our students and letting them see all the magic that lives in their devices that they can be adjusting and personalizing anytime throughout their life. Wow. And the accessibility features that are built in just keep getting better. So we need to show them this resource. They need to know that this is there for them. There's some great tools for vision. NVDA is actually a free screen reader. So for folks who are blind, if you don't know how to use a screen reader, don't turn it on because it's going to drive you crazy. But here are some free vision apps and some that are paid. There's some writing tools as well. Grammarly is free. Where would we all be without Grammarly that just magically appears if you're working Google Docs? In the free version is awesome. The paid version is better. So there's tons of tools. Word prediction, that used to be a big deal. Like, oh my gosh, you have to get a special software for word prediction. Now it just pops up absolutely everywhere as part of day-to-day life. They need to know their resources like us. Hey, they're out there in their community, they're living their life. Things change. They need to know that they can borrow equipment and try some new stuff if they need to. ODEs, local libraries do some tech support as well on built-in features and accessibility, things like that. They're a great wealth of resources, tons of free online training programs. There's just a lot of resources out there for them and for you. So questions, boop, boop, boop. There's my information. Oh, I went 2 minutes over. I'm so sorry.
Not a problem. If you require specific information and support, if there's really a head-scratching need for a student, please reach out to me, reach out to Jessie. We can come in person to support you. We can do it virtually, but we are available to speak you through it. Often with collaboration, we see more than when we have that tunnel vision. So include all the brains, all the experts as well. So
Because you
that
don't know what you don't know.
there you go. There you go. Thank you so much, Jessie. And she will be returning. And remember, when you think of Maine site and you think of that assistive technology, please keep in mind that all of this supports inclusion. This is about allowing the student an opportunity to be part of their community through these not necessarily high tech, but whatever needs, as small as it is, in allowing the students to access the curriculum, participate in their community, and really lead meaningful lives. So thank you so much, Jessie.
One last thing. So my office is located here in Augusta on UMA's campus. If you're ever in Augusta and you would like to stop in at Maine site, if you want to get in touch with me to make sure that I'm available and not doing something wonderful like this, come in and see it. We have a fully inclusive workspace that is adapted for 4 different people with 4 very different needs. So we can show you how different workspaces can even be modified so that you can meet different needs and think outside of that box and see some different technologies in use. So stop by and see us. I like people to come see me and talk to me so I don't have to stare at my computer all the time.
Thank you so much, Jesse. And now we're moving on to our transition boost for the day. I'd like to welcome all the ELO coordinators to present on their program, which I think is really important, that we spread the word of these opportunities for our students with IEPs who are often the lost individuals that have access to these amazing opportunities. And so Lana and a team has really brought about ensuring that the doors are wide open for all our students at all levels. And I would love their team to share their work right now. Welcome, ELA coordinators and their director, Lana Sawyer.
Thank you so much, Titus. I'm going to turn it right over to, today we have Liam Danaher, who's an ELO coordinator at Noble High School. And we also have Jess Rivera. Did I say that right, Jessica?
You did. Yep.
Okay, good.
You got
Who's a transition specialist. And they're going to talk about their work together at Noble High School, supporting their students.
Hey, Lana,
Liam,
are
do you
you
want me
doing
to share?
slides up?
Oh,
Oh,
you
sorry.
have it?
Who's doing
And
slides? I'm sorry. Are you doing slides, Lana, or am I?
I thought you were doing them, Liam,
Yep.
but
Mea culpa. I'm happy to do it. I just
Okay.
wanted to double check. Sorry about that.
no, you're good.
Dun, 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 dun.
And I will apologize now. It might be noisy. There's like a sports team directly out of my office practicing. It must be indoor track. So
The timing, it's always there. Mhm.
they sound happy out there though.
How does that look, folks?
Looks good.
Perfect.
I can't see myself, which is my least favorite thing to do when presenting, but it's nice to meet you all. I'm Liam Danaher. I'm the ELO coordinator at Noble High School. Super happy to be here with you. Thanks for the introduction, Lana. This is my colleague, Jessica Rivera. Jessica, remind me your title again.
Yeah. So transitions coordinator basically is the title for it.
Awesome. Because time is tight, we'll get right into it. We just have a couple quick slides to run through. We'll make the most of your time and appreciate the chance to learn together. So first off, collaboration, working across special education and general education. The obvious benefits working across the school community, benefits the students, benefits the community, benefits the programs. Specifically for Jess and I, our initial partnership between our two respective programs in the school was a really natural one. I'll explain these photos here in a second. But it was also one credit to our administration. I was a new hire, new to the Seacoast region after a career in Vermont last year, but our admin recognized that I'd be in a career space and they placed me kind of with Jess in like a mentoring role. Just because we both work in sort of the career preparedness spaces. So credit to our admin team for sort of being thoughtful about onboarding new employees and connecting them to, existing resources. I think that fostered an initial connection, but also just like a friendship that built into like a really smooth pathway between our respective programs. Starting last year specifically, we worked a lot hand in glove on like planning programs. Everyone here who works in a school knows you have to do more with less in this climate. So we, on a small scale, we sort of just had shared goals where we sort of looked at sharing trips, sharing guest speakers, sharing programming, sharing community resources, sort of building bridges. So if Jess had a great resource in the community that she thought would benefit students, she would share with me. And likewise, and we did a few field trips together with students from Jessica's program and students from my program last year. And specifically, these two photographs are from one of our shared community events that I'm going to describe to you right now. Jess, did I miss anything?
No, is it okay? I just want to say like just a couple things, kind of a little bit about the roles that we do have, Liam. We both do transitions a little bit in different modes, I guess. So I started at Noble High School. This will be my 4th year. And the goal that the school had was for those students that were 18 to 22 that have been within the school system and have completed their more academic area, especially in the life skills program, was to develop more of a work-based learning program for these students. So, a lot of what you were saying, Jesse, is a lot of what we do. So we're taking those students that have developed some of the skills, using what they've learned, their supports, their different systems, and bringing them out into the world of work to see how those function there. So we do that again with the 18 to 22-year-old students, and it's also supported internally with some different classes where we're talking about workplace communication, how to apply for jobs, where to look for jobs. We've absolutely used your resource also, Jesse, for students to look at some of the technology that's out there. So, and then we partner with some external organizations also. VR comes to our school once a month. We have Goodwill doing the boot camp here, and we've had Disability Rights Maine come in and talk to our students about self-advocacy. So that's kind of that program that was created before Liam came, and then Liam was hired to do more global ELO development and community, community action within our district. So that's kind of how we started to blend together.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so in viewing, sort of trying to summarize the collaboration across our programs, we looked at it through these two lenses, sort of connecting programming opportunities. So actually, Jess, this part's yours, special ed mentorship.
Yeah. So one of the sites, we can be really specific. One of the sites that we do, we just recently were given the backpack program for our district. It had been run by another school within our district, but it was kind of getting a little overwhelming for them. So the program that I run is called Access, and we have the students will do the shopping for it. They do the inventory for it, the packing for it, and the delivery. And in working with Liam, he had some students that were looking to also be a part of this program. So again, we're blending the two programs together. The two students specifically, one is going to be with us till he's 22. The other student will be graduating, I think within about 2 years. So it's kind of a mentorship for each other. They're both getting a lot out of working together on this project, and then also getting community service hours. So again, a really natural way of the programs to combine for both of the students to benefit from this type of program and from the work that they're doing together. And I think you have that second one, Liam, the classroom teaching one.
Totally. And just to
Yeah.
share a little bit more, I don't know how familiar folks are with backpack programs, but Jess, we're talking about 3 square meals a day for hundreds of people across our district, sort of bought, packed, shipped, and delivered every single week, which is a pretty Herculean endeavor. That's only a small part of the magic happening in the Access program and the ELO programs at MS8060. So full credit to Jess and her team for building a bridge with our willing students. And that's one example of sort of a program where you have students interested in sort of special education, community service, food security, and then also students already engaging in that work through this in the Access program, and sort of instead of trying to recreate the wheel, just combining forces. The next case study, if you will, is the special education aid in classroom teaching. I have, so I don't know exactly who's on this call necessarily for professionally, but from a global perspective on ELOs, right, we have there's a variety of approaches. Common one at Noble is a student will get a referral to my office. They'll have an interest or a passion or a skill or a gap in their schedule, and we brainstorm within a counseling relationship about how to build their interests, skills, aptitudes, and opportunities. So students will come with an interest in education, and then we'll try to find maybe a district placement where they can be a classroom teacher. Students will come. I have 2 students this semester who have a keen interest in special education and have 2 separate placements in special education classrooms in our district, assisting in classroom teaching and as a classroom aide. So the long-term goal is to help students find their passion, but also maybe train the workforce of tomorrow. And so that's going particularly well. And that's all possible because we have, we have pretty regular meetings across I would say Jess and my department, great familiarity and an openness to collaborate. So the next part we wanted to talk about a little bit sort of is our approach to building long-term sustainable programming. So one of Jess's skills and something her and I have shared an experience with is a little bit of grant writing. Jess, do you want to talk about this part?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so just through some of the conversations that we've had and partnerships within some of the other departments, also we identified some areas that we felt students could be supported additionally. Maybe whether there were gaps or things that we thought maybe if we alter things a little bit, it might help engage more students within our school district. So we had applied for a grant the Sunshine Committee had put out. And had identified a virtual reality career. Help me make sure I'm saying this correctly. Virtual reality career headset, which has a full package for students to be able to explore different types of careers. So we had brought it into the school. It was presented to the special ed department and then also to our principal and other administration, and we're able to get funding to access it. And it's been a really cool endeavor. Jesse, you had talked a little bit
It's
about
called
a time.
transfer.
Yes, it
Is
is.
it
Exactly.
transfer?
Yes,
Mhm,
100%. Thank you. That's
mhm,
the name of it.
mhm.
And it took us a little learning curve on how to use it ourselves, me not having grown up with that stuff. Liam, probably a little bit more technologically savvy than me. But if you see the bottom right of the screen, we just
I
recently
am
had a
seeing the
student.
ELO coordinators at the Youth Summit leading this. I'm meeting with Transfer tomorrow morning on exactly that, actually,
Oh,
to
nice.
have the tools at the Youth Summit. So I'm guessing
Wonderful.
ELO is participating, Liam.
Oh, if
Yes.
feel free to
Mhm,
mention us. We love it. And
mhm,
I think Jesse's point earlier during a presentation about the importance of training,
mhm.
Jess and I have spent a good amount of time trying to get good at this technology because it's no use if it's dusty in a corner in someone's
Mhm,
office behind a locked door that no one knows how to use. So like totally, I give a little
mhm.
claps up emoji when you were talking about that because that's something that we're, trying to carve out time, to get good at it because you can't teach it if you don't know it. So,
Absolutely. It is
yeah,
4:01, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time, so I am just checking in with anyone. If they need to leave, there will be a recording of this session, but please continue. I'm going to put the survey link as well as the contact hour link in the chat right now, so you guys can grab that and go as needed, but I don't want to further interrupt Liam.
no interruption at all. Happy to.
Mhm,
I appreciate the
Yeah,
time
no.
check.
mhm.
So then the second grant that we just recently applied for was to support, I think Liam's going to talk a little bit more about
Yep.
it, employer community appreciation reception, which will be going into the second one that we'll be doing. And that was just to access some funds, which we don't know yet if we'll get, but to get funding to help with feeding some of the employers and our partners in the area. I won't give too much because I know, Liam, you'll talk a little bit about that and how the funding would be applied for there.
Totally. Forget I had limited space in two slides. So this bottom right picture is a picture of our inaugural reception last year. And the top picture there is our assistant superintendent and our mascot. So that's from last January was our first event. This
Mhm.
January is going to be our second event. Lana, you should definitely come. Save the date's coming, hopefully this week. But
And I didn't receive an invitation.
Titus, you can definitely come too, please. If you don't mind
I'm
coming
like,
to
my
Northborough.
feelings.
Yes, please come. I don't know where I told you I'm bad at Maine and geography, so I don't want to invite someone who lives 8 hours away. So I
Mhm,
keep making that mistake. Uh, but yes, our second annual employer community appreciation reception. And so sort of last year, again, based on just the almost accidental or the kinship of our programs, Jess and I started talking about trying to build career focused community programming to sort of increase the capacity around where our students could find opportunities. And so early in the year, last year, my first year and Jess's third year, we sort of started brainstorming about how we could bring in all employers that we had either had been successful with or wanted to be successful with or wanted to cultivate programming with. We got funding from our school. We applied for funding from an Oakhurst grant again this year to kind of grow the program. But I want to say we had upwards of 24 local businesses come last year. Some had hosted students, some hadn't hosted students. We treated it. We have late starts on Wednesdays in our district, so we have a couple hours of PD weekly, and so we've shoehorned it into a late start Wednesday, sort of celebrating existing partners, sort of thanking them, highlighting them, but also sort of brainstorming with new employers on how we could build curriculum into what we're doing to sort of streamline and create pathways for employment and or training and or transition success for young folks. So all of our goals are the same thing. Our student populations may be a little different, but our goal is, I believe Titus or Jesse said this earlier, but we're kind of planting seeds about what may come in the future. We're trying to get them rooted. So this our event was a great success, and we're looking forward to seeing Titus and Lana there this year.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. On that note, I have to transition into another meeting. So I want to make sure that I wanted to make sure that the field absolutely knows about the ELO programs as well as who to contact if they wanted to further develop their ELO programs at their schools. You can reach out directly to me and I can connect to you guys, or you can directly reach out to Liam, Jessica, or Lana. They will share their presentation as a PDF with me, and I will share that with the field tomorrow morning, both the main site presentation for assistive technology as well as the ELO contacts and information. I want to thank everybody for your time and your commitment. I know it's 4:05 already, and our teacher days always, it's a long day. Planning starts now for tomorrow, and we still have personal lives. Do you remember that? What does that feel like? So thank you again so much. Any questions regarding how all this information can inform your transition plan, please send them my way. And then for specific questions around AT and the ELO programs, please reach out to the contact information that I will provide in the morning. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. I will not see you at the next Power Hour. That will be led by our Executive Student Transition Committee co-chair. That is our students between 10 years old and 22 years old that are my really taskmaster bosses that supports and develops all the transition initiatives. And we as the adults are the backup dancers. If you have any students that you'd like to recommend that I like to refer to as mouthy and sassy, send them my way. It does not, their levels, their reading levels, writing levels, that does not matter. What they need to be are fierce advocates, someone that will speak up and able to, because we take them to state and national, we do in summits. They present in front of 200, 300, 400, at one point 500 people as well. So really confident taskmasters that would like to take this opportunity, this leadership opportunity. We do a lot of skill building around leadership for them as well, which adds to their resume. We have one student that has now been accepted, our EST. He will be the next co-chair because we've been supporting him now for the past 3 years, and he's been accepted at UMF, UMA, USM, CMCC, SMCC, and now he's trying Northeastern as well. And he is a student that with an IEP that's on the spectrum and a DBVI student. So anything is possible. Please send them our way, and they get paid $20 an hour for 20 hours of work a month. And we have one student that came out of Melissa Burgess' classroom as well. His name is Joshua, and Josh loves to Josh, and he's putting together his presentation on self-determination and advocacy. So thank you, everyone, and we will see you next week, if not by me. Okay, the survey link and the certificate is in the chat. I'll give you a minute to grab that so you can get your contact hour for today's presentation. But I know Maine Site and ELO would be very appreciative of the survey information that I will share with them after. All right, have a good evening. Happy holidays.